Very nice. Excellent. Great. So we've got Fabian, we've got Vincent, and I'm happy to bridge over. So as I said, we started in the afternoon with the 3 dimensions to the positive side and to the enhancements that we've seen in digitalization projects. So we had first the consultancy view. Second, we had the software technology vendor view. And now comes a Swiss local client perspective. And this is even more interesting because it's one of the Swiss cantons. It's the Canton de Vaud. And the project we will be talking about now will be presented by another Appian colleague, Fabian Czicholl. I'm very happy to welcome Fabian. He is the global client account lead for the largest Swiss life science pharma company in Switzerland. And he has another very large chemical client in Germany. Fabian has more than 15 years of experience in enterprise software, solution architecture, low-code development, and digital transformation. And prior to joining Appian 7 years ago, he's worked with IBM, and he's a multilingual person. Welcome, Fabian. And next to Fabian, we have from our local Swiss partner, ELCA, Vincent Dupin. So Vincent joined ELCA last year as division manager for the French-Swiss public administration domain. And in this role, he oversees all of the operations of the cantons in the Swiss Romandie. And Vincent comes with 20 years of experience in the IT sector, including more than 15 years dedicated to clients in the public administrations. And we all know they're the most challenging clients one can have, and certainly not the ones that are most open to digitalization. So please join me in welcome the team of Fabian and Vincent in introducing the project at Canton de Vaud.
Thank you very much, Martina. Bonjour tout le monde and grüezi miteinander. To all of you, thank you for attending this session today. While I am leading us off, maybe Vincent, if you can start sharing the presentation
yes.
in parallel. Thank you so much. Again, a warm welcome and thanks for joining. We will explore during the next 20 minutes how Appian and our partner ELCA are driving digitalization in the Swiss public sector. And during the previous session or sessions of today's event, you've heard some of our peers speak about the Appian local digitalization platform, about digitalization in general, and possibly even of creating important business applications for digitalization, process automation. We've heard Greg just speak about some of the examples that Appian is pushing with digitalization globally, basically by using the visual editors that the low-code platform provides. But in the next 20 minutes, we'll have a chance to highlight the Swiss cantons' key IT challenges and also speak about some of the current themes. And we'll provide a few examples of the projects that we implemented, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some idea, some inspiration even, that you can walk away from after this session. So I'm happy to be joined by Vincent Dupin today, who heads up the public sector in the Swiss Romande at ELCA. So Vincent, before we jump into the topic, maybe you can give the audience a brief overview about ELCA and your role.
Yes, thanks a lot, Fabian. Thanks you for inviting me to this event and having the opportunity to present ELCA and to present our challenges here in the public sector in Switzerland. So just in 2 minutes, let me presenting ELCA. So ELCA is one of the biggest independent Swiss provider for business and technology solution. And we are a leader in the field of IT business consulting, software development and maintenance, and IT system integration here in Switzerland. So ELCA celebrated our 52nd anniversary in 2020. And today we count more than 1,300 experts. We are based close to our customer in Switzerland, so in our local Swiss premises in Zurich, in Bern, in Basel, in Lausanne, and Geneva. But we are also located with some nearshore and some offshore development center in Vietnam, in Grenada, in Spain, and in Mauritius. All the collaborators of ELCA share the same project methodology. Well, now it's agile methodology, and we share as well the same "we make it work" culture, and we are very proud of it. I mean, and by "we make it work," we mean we share some ethical values, and we share as well a strong satisfaction level from our clients. So let me speak a little bit about our clients. We are talking, we are very proud to count like 70% of top Swiss companies among our customers. We serve almost every industries, from banking to the public administration. And because this presentation topic is about digital transformation in the public administration, I take the opportunity to thank some of our clients in this domain, such as the Swiss Confederation and different departments from the Confederation, but as well the Canton de Vaud, the Zurich, Aargau, and Geneva, or again, Freiburg, for example.
Thanks, Vincent. Let's start diving into the topic of today, digital transformation. Digital transformation is at full speed across all of those industries, with our focus today on the public sector or public administration in Switzerland in particular. So let's start maybe with a question to Vincent. From your perception, can you tell us how cantons deal with those local challenges and even the positive impact that IT can bring?
Yes, thanks, Fabian. I'm going to teach you, I'm not going to teach you anything saying that digital transformation impacts every business domain. And so in 2021, especially after 1 year living with the COVID crisis, nobody asks us anymore the question why we should think about digital strategies, but what should we transform first and how? So, before I moved in Switzerland in 2012, I've been working many years with some more IT consulting companies in another country, in the public administration as well, and especially in the finance domain and justice domain. At that time, IT was one of the key to reach the politics decided by the head of the country. And the politic was just like the non-replacement of 1 out of every 2 retiring civil servants. So the IT projects were all about lowering the central government number of civil servants by eliminating the low-value task and developing cyber administration services. But let's come back to Switzerland, a different country, different model, culture, organization, and context. And so digital transformation within the public administration in Switzerland is not something new. But what I observed is that the cantons decided more recently, around 2018, to place digital transformation as one key axis of their politics. And concerning at least Swiss Romandy, every cantons have formalized their digital strategy. I put here in this slide some examples from Geneva, from Vaud, and from Freiburg, announcing their digital strategy. And for those who can read French, I'm sorry I didn't translate them in English. It's actually paper. On the website of each of the country of the cantons. We can see that we are not talking about reducing the canton's payroll. It's not at all the challenge. We are talking about how to prepare and how to accompany the citizens and the local economy actors to face the digital transformation challenges. We are talking as well about developing the skills within the cantons through the education actors. And we are talking about innovation, of course. And finally, we are also talking about transforming the administration by benefiting from the positive impact of the technologies. So let me speak a little bit of some project, some nice project, digital transformation project. So sorry for the Cantons from the German speaking side of the Rechtiggraben, but my experience is mostly from Swiss Romandy. So I took a little some example from Geneva, from the Canton de Vaud, and actually one very transversal Swiss project to come. So, for example, in Geneva, we have the project APA. It means Autorisation de Construire in French. So it is the full dematerialization of the building authorization management. Territory management and building authorization is a main issue, especially in Geneva. So the building authorization process can involve more than 80 stakeholders, which have to give their notice on a special case. In Vaud, the project CIELE, which stands for Information System Executive and Legislative. It is a new application deployed last summer to manage all the documents relating to the functioning of the executive and the legislative organisms. And it facilitates and strengthens the exchange between, for example, the deputies, the general secretaries, the directorates of the departments, and the various services of the cantonal administration. And ELCA is actually very proud to have accompanied the Canton de Vaud on this transversal project. The last example, and not the least, is actually Justicia 4.0. Justicia 4.0 is the full dematerialization of the legal procedure in Switzerland. And I took this example because this program involves every canton and as well the confederations. The project is only at the preliminary conception phase, but it actually shows how digital transformation can achieve great things, and even making the cantons agreed on a common IT solution. Well, it's just a joke, obviously.
Thanks, Vincent. Well, those are some great examples of course, the western part of Switzerland and beyond, of course. I can see the complexity that needs to be handled in some of those applications. And I think they can certainly be representative of the broader industry. So if you would try and condense digital transformation for the public administration into main themes, what do you think would those be?
Well, I tried to create a word cloud, getting the words appearing the most from the digital strategy of the cantons. And here is the result. So we have obviously some words like, citizens, technology, changes, and innovation. But we have as well some words like legal basis, which is a topic very important. We have as well some words like improving quality of our life, common good, and protect or protection. But at the top front, we have the word simplifying. And I actually really like this word because, when my children, for example, 11 and 8 years old, they ask me about my job, what I do. I like to tell them that I'm a simplifier, and I am to simplify my client's job. And which is great when working, with the public administration, is that you get the feeling that you simplify a little bit of everybody's life. So, in the private sector, when we talk about digital transformation, we usually talk about improving the customer experience. Then in the public sector, you want not only to improve the citizens' experience, but as well the civil servants' experience and the canton's partners' experience.
And at Appian, our goal is to simplify building those business applications that simplify all of our lives. Great. So Vincent, you just mentioned improving the citizens' experience. We're talking about cyber administration, right?
Well, yes, we are. I mean, cyber administration is a must-have for the cantons. But cyber administration services are like the visible part of an iceberg. The biggest challenges of the digital transformation in the public administration is beyond. I mean, if you only deploy an eGov portal with some nice cyber administration service, but don't change anything to your existing legacy information system, well, you made a first step, but it's clearly not enough. So for those coming from the private sector, I like to compare the context of the public administration with the transformation in the private sector from the multi-channel to the omni-channel strategy. You know what I mean? You are very proud because you deployed an e-commerce website. Okay, that's great. But the website is not properly interfaced with your ERP. So the stock information or the prices are never up to date on the website. Or, you have this situation. One client started an order on his mobile during his way from work to home, and he has not finished and wants to continue on his computer at home. But surprisingly, he cannot continue, and he has to start his order from the beginning. And at the end, he has a question about one product, and he decided to call directly the customer service. And surprise again, the customer service cannot have access to his ongoing order, and he has to fully explain again the products he already selected in his shopping list. Not really great for the company image, and it's not really efficient either. So for the cantons, it's about the same. Going to the extreme, if the agents need to print the form received from the eGov portal and to re-enter all the data in the legacy system to be able to treat the request, then something is probably missing.
Understood, yeah. I like that analogy of the iceberg with just a fraction visible on the top and the majority and the complexity not perceived at first, but it's really there. So similar to this, let's take a quick look under the hood in our conversation and get a bit more technical in terms of IT enterprise architecture. So we don't just spend all of our time just scratching the surface. Sticking to the theme of the iceberg, could you give us a quick technical deep dive and give us an example of a target architecture?
Well, this is the big picture. The schema you can watch now. It's the big picture of what could be a cantonal information system to support digitalized processes. We have in the middle, obviously, the information system supporting the operations for the different business departments, such as the security and justice, the education, health, social security, and so on. So we have the cyber administration zone we already talked about being needed to interact with the citizens and the companies in a digitalized way. And then we have some transversal solution. At the very left, very classically, we have a dematerialization solution, and it's still needed because so far public administration has to support paper-based requests and mails. The exchanges solution is here as well to allow data exchange with the cantons partner, such as the cities, the confederation, using SEDEX, for example, and other government agencies. And at the very right, we have the output management and analytics solution to monitor and drive the operations. At the bottom left, we have obviously the databases and the eSIM solution. So far, nothing very new. I mean, every canton have this kind of solution in their information system. So now we want to implement a fully digitalized process, meaning we want to eliminate the paper proofs. And so for that, we also need to create a chain of trust from the dematerialization to the cantonal archiving system. And this is the role of the record management strategy and the solution behind, like archiving system and so on. You need as well to get a solid IAM solution. It's actually a key success factor for digitalization. Well, I don't want to go too deep in this debate of, we have this debate now in Switzerland with the EID referendum. And you might know that ELCA is actually a certified identity provider with the Trust ID solution. So I'm not getting too far in this subject. One thing very important as well is the central registries. They are key factors, key success factors as well. The central registries, they are the components to make sure that the business services works with reliable reference data and to be able to have a unique ID, for example, for a citizen and for a company, and to have data to be shared across the different organizations of the cantons. So all those components are as many challenges for IT services in the cantons. But for many of them, for many of the cantons, they are already either deployed or already in their roadmap, so ready to be deployed or very short, in a short time. So now we presented all the necessary components to support the digitalization of the business process. But actually, we have not talked about the art of the information system, the business process itself. So far, the business services still continue to use their legacy information systems, made up of different business applications and tools developed over the years. So we can identify many issues. First, the data. They are divided into silos, and the users, they have to go through the different business application or tools to have the complete vision. Second point, the legacy system does not offer in general any collaborative features. So emails became the collaborative tool by default. And therefore, you have a lot of information which is contained inside emails. And this information is actually almost unusable. The third point is that legacy systems are usually complex to evolve and offer a very low interoperability. So in conclusion, is that if you want to have a digitalized process, it implies the modernization of those business information systems too.
Understood. So in other terms, it's about bringing together people, processes, and systems, I would say. I agree, that's what we typically see, many data silos, a huge amount of manual work, poorly automated tasks, consuming a lot of time, slowing down the public administration, and the constituents' demand for speed grows stronger as we all live in a world that sees digitalization in our daily lives. So isn't that where digital transformation is destined to come in the public administration? So how do you propose enhancing this setting, and how about you propose us a modernization strategy in that space?
Well, to elaborate a modernization strategy, it's always the same. We have to analyze the as-is situation. It's what we've done actually. And now we have to define the target, and finally we have to build the transformation path. So over the last years, I myself analyzed some requirements for new information systems, and I worked as well on many RFPs or WTO to presenting the target of desired system. And each time, I could identify the same cross-cutting requirements. Whatever the business domain, the target was basically the need of a case management system. By case management, what I mean is that, the civil servant, to be able to manage a case and to treat it, first of all, you need to have a clear vision of the whole data and information, structured data and content. So this is the first need, the first requirement. He needs to have an application who provides him a 360-degree of the data and of the information. The second is that he needs to manage the life cycle of the case. And I'm not talking here about business process. I'm talking really about life cycle. You open the case until you close it at the end and eventually archive the data. Then you need as well to manage all the stakeholders part of the process and of the life cycle of the case. So we are talking about the applicant, we are talking about the partners of the different organizations inside the canton, and so on. We also need to have some features like rules, some task management, and as well some process automation. I'm not talking about the whole process automation, but to have access to some dedicated small process automation, like for example, document review, document signature, and so on. And we need as well some what I call collaborative features, such as the possibility to have comments, the possibility to have notification, and so on. And the last point is the capacity to link cases together. This is very important. So saying that, the choice of a standard case management solution is becoming strategic for the canton digital transformation.
Yeah, I can see how that case management is a central component in that architecture that brings together people, process, data, systems, as outlined in your previous slide. So the question I have is, how would you approach building such a case management solution so that shares common functionality between very individual case applications. And I suppose the trade of the question is trade-off standardization versus customization. How would you evaluate the criteria to choose such a solution?
Well, within ELCA, we are an independent Swiss provider. So we are continuously analyzing the panel of solutions existing on the market. So let me first display all the all the slide. Okay, all right. So, in Switzerland, we have 26 cantons and therefore 26 legal bases and organizations. So there is no like one single solution matching all needs. But let's have a look of the different panel of solutions and the ones which are, who match the requirements of a cantonal case management platform. At the very left, we have the packages. So in this slide, I didn't put any, out-of-the-box Swiss-made business packages.